he's got the experience to take down one of these tournaments. He's won the only short deck event tournament.
Ivey, the two big stacks at this table, are really looking to blow up pots and make raises. It seems like both of them are pretty content to just limp. Wow, Rui Cow raising 300 on Phil Ivey's button. This isn't going to work with Ivey waking up with ace-king. The question is, though, is Ivey going to 3-bet here?
Yeah, it's weird given the final table dynamic. He definitely thinks he's got the best hand usually. He's going to re-raise, trying to clear out Rui Cow.
Yeah, these players are really deep here, about 270 antes deep. If Ivey does re-raise and Rui Cow were to shove, Ivey wouldn't like this spot.
He's going to re-raise to 1.3 million. I like the big sizing. You don't want your opponent to try and see flops with you. Winfred's going to fold. I should see 2 folds.
1.3 million, and if Rui had shoved there, what do you think Ivey would have done?
I don't know, and I think it's a very tricky spot. But he does have Ivey covered. Now, normally in No Limit Hold'em, the ante is not part of the bets you to see a flop. So you in No Limit Hold'em you would ante, but then you would still have to put in 2 blinds, or like 2 small blinds in order to see the flop. So that's a big difference in this game. So what happens is there's already 280,000 in the middle in this game, and that's like kind of unheard of in No Limit Hold'em.
我们打多久了？我以为是很早结束的。2次25萬嗰個 file table 咧，嗰啲籌碼太多，個 level 嘅 structure 可能要較喺後段，可能啦。
So Ivey flops 2 pair. It's a flush board. So Winfred actually has 41% chance to win this pot, but I don't think he's going to try to chase a 6-high flush draw. And it's going to be another fold from Rui. Unless Rui's making another play here. He's raising to 500,000. Just ace-9. He doesn't even have a heart draw. Rui is just going for it now. He turns an ace. If Rui bets again, he might actually get Ivey to fold. I think Rui's like just really fighting. River's a 10, so Ivey has a full house. He checks. He thinks Rui doesn't have too much. Shows him a full house, and he's going to fold that hand. Wow, Rui is really attacking spots right now. I think he's going to attack spots for like the next 15-20 minutes possibly until the delay catches up, and then try to like, you know, wiggle his way around playing a little bit snugger. People will adapt, as well as Kane Callis at Kane Callis.
Cool.
Now the phones have been taken away from the featured table for your reference. Now I'm trying to give you guys as much insight as I can in this short deck event. I'm by no means a short deck professional, but I think I've got some decent intuition in the game. Now Rui Cow here flops trip 8s. He checks because he... See, I think Rui Cow's actually been trying to predict his opponents because he knows that Ivey likes to stab a lot, so he's checked to him. So kind of some adjustments you're seeing over time at this final table. But Rui's going to bet now that Ivey didn't stab, but Ivey actually picks up a straight flush draw. A queen of hearts or 7 of hearts would be very sweet. So Tan Xuan, man, is he trying to... He's getting out of line here. Everyone is just bluffing now. This is actually getting much more exciting than earlier in this final table where everyone was being very tight. Rui Cao here with 8-9. He's got one of the worst kickers, but I don't think he's gonna fold. This would be a big laydown, which would be very incorrect. So he's gonna make the call. Ivey has actually a straight flush draw. He's not gonna fold his hand. So a bad timed bluff by Tan Xuan right now, but very crafty. So Ivey's gonna come along too. Tan Xuan's probably like, oh my god, what did I do? He can hit a final 10 though to win this pot. Remember, it's a 6, doesn't change anything. The 6 is like the blankest card in this game. Tan Xuan here, does he really want to make some ridiculous play right now? As long as he can't put someone on a boat, man, he can make a very heroic play. And he's thinking hard, wow, if he bets into 2 players, this would look so ridiculously strong. He's got 10 seconds to act. He checks, he gives up. This is it'll be too heroic to bluff into 2 guys. Rui Cao checks. Ivey now with Jack 9 of hearts. Got Jack high, he gives up. Tan Xuan has to show him 10-7. And trip 8 of a 9 kicker is going to win this 2.4 million chip pot.
Look at this, an aggressive raise by Winford Yu. But Phil Ivey has pocket queens, and now he has a decision. Yu has been pretty tight at this table. Phil Ivey has about 35 antes. I imagine we're going to see Ivey go all in. No, Ivey just calls. And that's going to bring along Xuan Tan. Very surprised to see Ivey just flat this hand pre-flop. It could be because of how tight Winford has been. But it's just so difficult to navigate post-flop with pocket queens in this game. Winford Yu flops a flush draw but checks over to Ivey. Ivey checks back. You don't often see people checking back strong equity hands in this game like they do in No Limit Hold'em because hands are so vulnerable. Ivey's hand, though, there's not too much he's worried about on future streets. Now Winford Yu. It's a good turn card for his hand. He now has an up and down straight draw to go with his flush draw. I'd like to see Winford Yu bet this turn. He does check. Maybe he's going for a check raise. The river card's a 10. So Ivey's going to take this down if he doesn't fold. Tun. His bluff had just worked out a couple hands ago with pocket sevens. Is he going to turn the sevens into a bluff again? This time into two players?
Check.
Not this time. It goes check, check over to Ivey. Ivey thinking about going for some thin value here. He has two queens, which blocks a straight. He knows that neither of his opponents have a king. He does just check.
你孤爭嗰一早打他。
You know, maybe we can pick off some missed straight draws. It's like in this game, it's like, man, it's so hard to win.
Occasionally in this game with deeper stacks, pocket pairs are useful as blockers on a straight board.
Yeah, but I don't see anyone making a bet shove in this game post flop.
Call.
So Rui Cow limps with King Jack, Ivey's in with tens, and Kuhn of 8-6 offsuit.
3 players.
So he flops a set.
It does happen sometimes, and Rui Cow with an up and down straight draw here is going to lead out. Up and down straight draw is a very strong hand against any hand except for a set. It's a 2-to-1 dog against a set.
Nice fold by Kuhn because he actually can make a straight for an ace or a 9, but a 9 would... Actually not an ace, excuse me, a 9, but it'd be dead.
What do you think about Ivey's flat here instead of raising?
Yeah, I don't really like it because usually you just have the best hand outright. Now he's been outdrawn on the turn. Now he just needs to call because he actually is up against King Jack a lot, so he is going to call.
Call.
Comes a river card. It's a 9.
No help for Ivey.
Well, Rui Cow is going to just bet again. Likely get called by Ivey. It's a big bet, 800,000. Yeah, Ivey's just going to side call here. Get shown to nuts.
Phil Ivey loses a big one to Rui Cow.
So in this hand, Ivey's a pre-flop raiser. He got check raised on the flop. Ivey called. Baziakowski puts Ivey all in with an open-ended straight draw, 30% equity. Ivey with just ace-10. He's got 71% if he can find a call here. But this is a huge pot. Ivey with just ace-10. This is a shot clock tournament, so that buzzer means he's used one time bank chip here. He gets another 30 seconds for each time bank chip he uses. So Baziakowski limp calls pre-flop, check raises the flop with an open and straight draw. Goes all in on the turn. Ivey only beats a bluff. But if he can make this call, he's a pretty good favorite here, 71%. Uses another time bank chip. Ivey deep in the tank. Just needs to put his opponent on a straight draw like 10-9 or maybe a flush draw. Another time bank chip.
How many I have left? Oh, you another one?
So he has 3 time bank chips remaining. Phil Ivey really thinking about it. He thinks his opponent has a draw, but if he's wrong, he's going to be drawing really slimly. He's worried about ace-king Ace Queen. Even a hand like 7-8, Ace 8. Another time bank chip has been used. Ivey is 2 minutes into tank. Oh, he makes the call. So Badzikowski, 30% chance.
Wow.
That is Phil Ivey at his finest. He needs to dodge a jack or a 6.
6-8.
One more card to go. River is a jack. Phil Ivey's been eliminated from the tournament. So Winford Yu, King 10 offsuit.
Call.
It's gonna fold that hand. Or
Call.
5-handed.
Call.
Rui's gonna call here with pocket 8s. Pocket kings again for Jason Kuhn, back-to-back hands. It's gonna raise about 550,000.
550. Can you put the cards in the box, please? Thank you.
Ton, let's go with the Ace 8 suited.
Call. Heads up.
So Ivey calls with Jack 10 offsuit.
Check. How many blues do you have? Blues? Thank you.
So bad flop for Kuhn. He checks it back. Turn 7. Gives Ivey more outs. Looking for an 8.
We haven't seen too much of this check back type play in short deck. A lot of times you'd see players just kind of merge and continuation bet here.
Look, Ivey's taking control of the pot.
Check.
No, he checks actually. Should see Kuhn check again.
Check.
River is an ace.
It's a safe river for Kuhn.
Check.
We're going to see him value bet here. We saw him value bet with pocket kings in a very similar spot earlier in the tournament.
Well, he knows he's up against a jack usually, so he wants to target those hands. Doesn't need to bet too much. Thinking like 550 maybe? 600? It's going about half the pot. Exactly half the pot, 675.
675.
Ivey here should really think about the spot. It's like, he's got one of the worst kickers right now. So he doesn't beat another jack. I think if Kuhn was a pre-flop raiser, he would just c-bet the flop of like king queen, right? And
Right,
queen
that's
10.
the problem, is what air does Kuhn really arrive at the river with?
Yeah, so very well read by Ivey. I think Kuhn got a little bit greedy betting half pot there.
Call. 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 Thank you.
Folded over to Winford Yu. I think we might see him raise it up here now. He just checks.
I would think most players would, but Winfred's a little bit more on the cautious side, which is fine. Just a lot lower variance. He does flop top 2 pair. I would like to see like a pot size bet right now. He's actually going to go a bit smaller, 200,000. I think like something to keep in mind is the bigger you bet, the less likely someone will bluff raise you too, if you're intending to fold to like resistance. So like let's say for example Winfred bets like bet 200 now and he would fold to like a check raise on like and then bet on the turn. Like maybe it's actually better for him to just charge the hands, and it also makes people semi-bluff him less. It's at least something I'm just trying to think of all of the different strategies I would use now.
So Winford Yu checks back the turn.
I
I'm
don't
not
like
too
that.
sure why he did that. I guess maybe he's a little bit concerned that Ivey peeled the flop with 8-9.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, but he needs to be calling here with top 2 pair. Because a lot of times a player will check raise the flop with a straight. So he can't be too worried about king queen. So he's going to make a call. Nice. Pick off that bluff. Yeah, Ivey, you got to muck those cards or show him. Alright, yeah, he wants to see those cards.
It actually is a tough spot because Queen 9 is virtually the only hand that Ivey plays like that Winford Yu beats by the river. I mean, Ivey could have easily floated the flop with a flush draw.
2 million chips for Ivey.
Sneaky. I would love a blank ran out, pair to 6. It's a money.
I'm moving full. Check.
Ivey's too good. He just knows it. He just knows you don't fucking have it. It's like, yeah, it's a good bet.
So Ivan with
Spooky,
pocket
like
aces.
Maybe I was hoping you had kings.
Yeah, yeah, somebody put you on a screen. Somebody bet.
So Ivey. Oh, Ivey's just pushed in a tower of blue chips. But Ivan Leo's got pocket aces.
Lots of outs missing for Ivey.
Okay, call. I like it. Ivan.
Uh-oh. No.
Yeah, that's a really bad hand.
I was hoping you had kings.
But why?
Because Ivey would make a straight with an ace, but that would give Ivan a full house. So Ivey needs a 10, only 24%.
I'm going with a 9 now.
Turns a 9. Card's a king.
How much is it?
Nice hand, Ivan. 1.1 million chips.
It's a big blow to Ivey's stack.
Yeah, Ivan's a man on a mission. Ivan Leo, one of the most aggressive players we've seen.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The winner of event number 2. He's already up